Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. That's Box Eye Care, 205-342-0660. Go check them out, Box Eye Care, boxeyecare.com. We'll tell you more about them later on in the program. This is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. I want to encourage you to join the Martin Houston Show each and every day, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. You can always join us on the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline. Empowerment Strategies and Solutions. We speak, we train, we coach. You can call us on the hotline, 205-342-9904. Or you can jump on us with us on the live stream and put your thoughts in chat. And for those of you who are listening on YouTube, I think I figured out our problem there with the chat stream and being able to jump in on the chat. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. Hopefully you'll be able to jump in with us today as well. Remember that this is the day, man. This is the day the Lord has made. Let's do this thing. Let's rejoice. Let's be happy because we're headed toward Alabama's next game. And as we look to South Florida and what Alabama has this weekend, we got a great show lined up for you. We have recruiting, a little note there, not much going on there. We brought up the topic yesterday, how South Florida saved our season last year. Get Xavier thoughts on that. What do you look for in week 2 around the SEC, the nation, AP Top 25, and more of those conversations right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. Good morning, X. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Well, man, missed you on yesterday. Hopefully your voice is a little better today. Glad to have you back in with us. Yesterday, we had some conversation and some people joined in yesterday. Had especially one viewer that thought that the Alabama folks were going off on Jalen Milroe, and if he's listening this morning, just wanted to let him know the Alabama folks have not been going off on Jalen Milroe this year from a negative on my show, but there were a lot of people out there who immediately took to social media talking about Jalen and what he needs to do in terms of he's floating the ball and he's holding the ball too long and all of those different aspects of Jalen's performance. X, did you have any takeaway or any comments regarding Jalen? And so I wanted to tie that conversation in, and then if you have any recruiting news.
Yeah, I think Jalen had a pretty solid performance. Not just solid, a really good performance on Saturday. The first drive of the season, Proctor being out, think it threw a little bit of things off, but once he settled in, I mean, 7 for 9, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, or 3 touchdowns through the air, another 79 and 2 on the ground. When you're talking about him being a dual threat and using his skill set, that's what you want to see, especially when you're talking about the limited playing time and how explosive the plays were. 279 yards and 5 touchdowns. You can't be mad at that. And as the season goes, and actual live play, I think he'll just slowly improve.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. Um, when I heard those complaints, I was like, okay, you just a hater. When you're critiquing that. But here's what Coach DeBoer had to say about Jalen Milroe's performance and efficiency on Saturday, and then we'll respond to that and talk about what get your recruiting news, and then talk about this South Florida game.
You've mentioned how you watched all of Jalen's games last year. Just how did you see him progress after the South Florida game over the course of the season last year?
How did? Okay, I see. From last year's game at this point, yeah. I thought being decisive at the end of the season was something that I was really, wanting to make sure he carried over. Just playing ball, finding ways to move the chains. You get so caught up in this play, you're supposed to read it right to left, or you're supposed to read the safety, and there's so many things with checks. And then there's a point where you just got to go play ball. And I think that that's something that he just got more and more accustomed to, and I felt like that was what he did on Saturday. There wasn't a lot of opportunities. He didn't take that many snaps. He threw it less than 10 times, and so not a big sample size there. But when he did have those opportunities, I thought he took off. I love the touchdown pass to K-Law, where he stepped up, was decisive, had his eyes downfield. He can run with the football, but hit the eyes of the defense being on him, flipping it out there, and making a really accurate pass. And again, those are things that are undervalued. K-Law being able to attack the ball and hit it on the run, kind of having a feel where the defense was at. There was people at his legs, K-Law's legs, and so that's the difference between a 6, 7, 8, 10-yard gain and a touchdown. So just little subtleties like that, I think, were things I was impressed with Jalen. And a couple times here and there. I mean, he only had 2 incompletions, and so you're really getting down to what could we have done on those 2 incompletions. Communication, just always trying to make that better. I thought it was really good, but always trying to make it better. Communication to the line, all the way across the board, coming on the sideline. I really enjoyed getting with him on the sideline. Thought he was really locked in. The iPads and all of that. I really thought he utilized that to his advantage, along with the rest of our staff, both sides of the ball. Really kind of a game changer when you look at it, and getting that instant feedback and instant information to confirm what you thought happened, and be on the same page and be able to move forward. So, yeah, some good steps, obviously early in the season.
Wow. Listen, I mean, I just let you respond to that. I mean, wow. To me, I was glad to hear what Coach DeBoer had to say, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. He talked about Jalen's maturation from when he got there to now. He going through his reads and making the right decisions, and of course, it wasn't a ton of plays that you got to see it, but I know for sure one of his incompletions was a drop, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the other one
It
was.
was a swing
But
pass. It was a swing pass out to Jam Miller.
yeah,
And if you don't understand that he could have made a better throw, but let me walk everybody. I'll see if I can find that play at some point. Chase and X, and let me teach our listeners a little bit about how to run a swing pass. When you run a swing pass, the running back is supposed to get depth first. He starts off kind of beside the quarterback or slightly behind him. He is to bow. He's to bow out, not go straight down the line or anything. He's supposed to loop back so that when the quarterback throws the ball, if he throws it out in front, the running back is already going downhill. Okay. If the running back goes straight down the sideline, and if I'm not mistaken, Miller was almost even with him, and he was going sideways. So it only gives Jalen a really small line to throw the ball, because if he throws it out in front of him, he's not going forward, he's going sideways more than he is forward. So he can't go downhill and get the ball as much. And so I think that was both Jalen, the way he threw it, and I also think the way the route was ran. I think that they'll work on that to improve the timing and the route running. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I mean, hey, Chase, does it make sense what I'm describing?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. You know, like if you think about catch radius, when you think about catch radius, think about, let me say it a different way. Think about when a receiver runs a route in his man, when he comes out of his break in his man coverage, then he keeps running because the guy is chasing him. If he sets up, if he's running a curl route or a hook route and he sets up in his man, then he's covered. But if it's man and he turns and the DB's on him, he runs away from the DB, so the quarterback leads him out in front. Well, or if it's zone, he hooks up and he sets. Because if he curls and runs to the sideline, he runs into coverage. So the quarterback and the receiver is not just always where he throws it, it's what is the way the route's supposed to be ran as well. And I think both could improve on that. Jalen could make a better throw, but he didn't have a lot of window, because if he throws it out in front, the guy also may pick it off, who was out there covering Jam. So, but he used the D word, X, and we're going to talk about that, the D word regarding Jalen Milroe, and we'll talk about that coming back on the other side. As you go to break, don't forget about Box Eye Care. We got Box Eye Care, Daniel Box and his team, located down on 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive, their new location. Same great service, lots of great new options, especially their in-house lab, which gives you an entire inventory, a larger inventory of frames to choose from. And because of the in-house lab aspect of it, you can get in and out most times with your new look within an hour or less. And that is Box Eye Care. Daniel Box and his team look forward to the opportunity to help you see clearly into your future. That's Box Eye Care. Daniel Box, OD, 205-342-0660, boxeyecare.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, a very good Thursday morning to you. Getting off to a bit of an eventful start. We do have a fender bender on Lurleen Wallace, southbound near University Boulevard, but it looks like they pushed everything to the shoulder, so not causing a huge delay. Now on Joe Malisham Parkway, we've got some delays right around 21st Street, between 21st Street and Black Warrior River, and so just watch out for that. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Tire Rack.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
We could try to explain what it feels like to get your work done on a John Deere. The way a Z-Track mower finishes in half the time you thought it would. Or how much easier it is to move mountains of soil with a 1 Series tractor. We could even go into detail about how it feels to tow up to 4,000 pounds behind a Gator XUV. But if you really want to know what it's like to run with us, you just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/get-in-the-seat or visit a dealer near you.
Hey, Bama fans, this is quarterback Jalen Milroe for my friends at Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Before you shop anywhere else for a Dodge Ram truck, a Jeep, a Dodge Challenger, or a Dodge Charger, shop local. An amazing selection of new and pre-owned vehicles are on the lot now. Go see for yourself at 550 Skyland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa. Or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide!
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Head to Mattress Firm's best sale of the year, the Labor Day sale. Get a king bed for a queen price, save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly cloudy today and tonight with periods of rain likely. The high today 84, tonight's low 67. Tomorrow cloudy and much cooler. Rain likely much of the day. The high tomorrow in the mid-70s at 75. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Fox Eye Care. It's Martin and Xavier right here on your home for Alabama sports. Don't forget to go check out North River Timber Company. North River Timber CO at gmail.com is one way to connect with them. If you have timberland or land in general in West Alabama, North River Timber Company would love the opportunity to offer you these great services: timber harvesting, appraisals, and land management. There's not a lot of companies that can help you when it comes to the appraisal side if you have acreage and a lot of land, but North River Timber Company can do that. Courtney White, been doing registered forester for 11 years and counting, will be able to help you. 205-242-5127. That's Courtney White and his team, Chase Pearson and others. They will be there to help you. Reach out to them, 205-242-5127, or if email is better, northrivertimberco@gmail.com. If you've got land, it's like having money in the bank, and they'll help you maximize your potential. All right, X, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can replay this, and I want you to listen to what Coach DeBoer had to say, and then we'll react to it.
Being decisive at the end of the season was something that I was really, wanting to make sure he carried over. Just playing ball, finding ways to move the chains. You get so caught up in this play, you're supposed to read it right to left, or you're supposed to read the safety, and there's so many things with checks. And then there's a point where you just got to go play ball. And I think that that's something that he just got more and more accustomed to, and I felt like that was what he did on Saturday. There wasn't a lot of opportunities. He didn't take that many snaps. He threw it less than 10 times, and so not a big sample size there. But
all right, X, that's Coach DeBoer, and he used a D word there, decisive. And one of the biggest complaints I heard or read about X was that, man, he's holding the ball too long. And Coach DeBoer said by the end of the season that was one of his strengths coming out of last year. He was being more decisive, and he said he wanted to make sure that he continued that, and he felt like he did. We probably called a grand total of what? 12 plays, pass plays when he was in there. He got sacked once. I think he pulled it down and ran twice through 2 incompletions. So if you like you said, if you add it up, he had 279 yards on 11 of 13 plays, something like that. No, well, because you have to add the two call runs, so 13 of 15 plays. he had 279 yards.
19. He ran the ball 10 times.
So, well, oh yeah, I guess some of those would have been, others would have been sacks too. So, I mean, pass plays. But the biggest thing, go ahead.
No, I mean, Jalen, if you're trying to do this, you're nitpicking. You're 110% nitpicking when you look at that performance from Saturday. He did everything right. Was there? He did just about everything right. I mean, if you want to grade it on, oh, he could have done this different, there's probably 2 plays he could have done something different on from his overall performance. And he was still extremely efficient. He was the most efficient quarterback in the SEC. He was I think he was the top 3 efficient quarterback in the country Saturday. 19 total plays that started and ended with his hands in his hands. He gained 279 yards on 19 plays. That's amazing. So let's just let him grow. It was better. The start this year was better than the start last year. Let him grow.
Yeah. X, as we look at this ball game and kind of taking what happened Saturday, what this staff has meant, get your thoughts. How did UCF, as much as we hate that game and how bad Alabama looked, what are your thoughts on the fact that USF actually may have saved our season last year and have us feeling comfortable about things from heading into 2024?
When you look at what they did last year, I mean, it kind of let us know that Jalen had to be the guy last year, and you saw even though the offense still took forever to be built around him, the coaching staff had to put their faith in him. When leading up to that game, you didn't really feel like that's what they wanted to do. And so with him doing that, it caused a shift in the way that the team failed. It caused a shift in the way, like I said, the coaches failed. And Jalen built on that throughout the course of the season, even when still having sometimes to fight against an offensive coordinator who didn't seem to want to build his offense around him.
Yes, I was about to ask you, do you think that they built offense around Jalen last year? Only time I think that we did that last year, I think we had one game where they went all in on Jalen.
And he had 300-some yards of total offense and 4 touchdowns.
He outdueled the Heisman Trophy winner, is what it amounts to.
Mm-hmm.
The one game that I sat there and watched LSU last year and said, this is what you had access to all year long.
Yep.
How is it possible that did they watch LSU film and the defensive coordinators Steele and all them go, hey, listen, we're watching what LSU does. And I think our guy, based on what we see in practice every day, he could do some of the same stuff. We need to run it. And then they forgot it. To me, the craziest part of the last 2 years is the fact that we've had this guy on the sideline, and the 2 coaches, one of them who is right now having to coach a smaller version of Jalen, who he's the head coach and not the offensive coordinator, but he's allowing his offensive coordinator to fully utilize their quarterback at Boston College. It's the craziest thing it shows you Saban, and man, you always have to be careful when you dog Saban or say something negative about Saban. Saban got lucky when he hit with Lane Kiffin. Very fortunate. Very fortunate, right? But the reality of it is Dayball, O'Brien, and Reese all hurt the offense as much as they helped it. In other words, give Kiffin or Sarkisian the same players that Dayball, O'Brien, and Reese had, and our offense is more explosive, a lot more explosive.
100%.
You see what I'm saying? So because he kept getting these pro style guys, but he was recruiting a certain type of guy. So it's just weird. I think the South Florida game saved our season because it put Jalen Milroe on a mission, X. And Jalen Milroe has not gotten off of that mission. But the part that I love the most about DeBoer's statement was he said he was decisive at the end of last year, and I wanted to make sure that carry over. Now, we think about decisive X from just the pass game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the pass game, meaning there's three layers to me of decision making, at least three layers. Number one is when he goes back to pass the ball, does he find an open guy? And if the guy's open, will he release it? Okay. Will he release it to the open guy? I heard people complaining about how deep he went into his progression because he held the ball too long. Well, Coach DeBoer didn't think that. He thought he was decisive. And when he went through the progression and he got to his open guy, that's what happened with the Ryan Williams touchdown. Boom. He got to like his fourth read. Boom, let it go. But if it was early in the drive, boom, he would have done that. Then the other one is if it's nothing there, pull it down and run. His long run would have been a sack at the inside the 5 last year, in my opinion, especially early in the season. Then when you run, keep your eyes downfield. Touchdown to K-Law. I said 3, where it's actually 4. Then the fourth decision, it being decisive, is when we call your number, run the ball. Good gracious. Right. On those 2 touchdowns, Xavier, it looked like I was watching Xbox or PlayStation. Your response.
No, when he decided to tuck it, man, that was it. Wrap it up. He put his foot in the ground and was gone. Excuse me. You love to see that from a guy, and Jalen took full advantage of it when given the opportunity. When using his legs, because you said both touchdown runs were extremely impressive, in my opinion, from the way he just was able to take off, make something happen. Not take off, but hey, I've got the ball. I'm going to make something happen. And then when you look at his long run, man, once he realized nobody was open and the pocket was closing, bye. Goodbye. And that was it. That's all she wrote. It was one step and 40, next thing you know, 40 yards down the field.
Absolutely. Hey, as we get to break here, don't forget to check out the swag, the Alabama Legacy Collection, and other co-branded Alabama swag. You can find it at athletesthread.com, athletesthread.com/collections/Martin-Houston. To those of you who are new to the program, if you're watching on the video screen on your social media accounts, just highlight the QR code. Follow that and get your officially licensed Alabama co-branded swag right here, courtesy of Martin Houston and NIL. Help a brother out. Go check it out. That's athletesthread.com/collections/Martin-Houston. We're getting some questions and comments about Jalen on the other side, we'll talk about it right here on your home for Alabama Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, a very good Thursday morning to you. Getting off to a bit of an eventful start. We do have a fender bender on Lurleen Wallace southbound near University Boulevard, but it looks like they pushed everything to the shoulder, so not causing a huge delay. Now on Joe Malisham Parkway, we've got some delays right around 21st Street, between 21st Street and Black Warrior River, and so just watch out for that. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
Join Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230 Sports Radio live for Fridays at the Free at Innisfree Irish Pub, 1925 University Boulevard downtown. Come join Wyatt Fulton for lunch at Innisfree Irish Pub.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,500 off select appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances, like the LG Smart Top Load Washer with easy unload angled front, so you can reach every last sock. Right now, get up to $1,500 off select appliances in-store and online with Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid August 22nd through September 11th. U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get ready, Birmingham. The newest Academy Sports and Outdoor store is opening in your neighborhood this October with the best in sports equipment, outdoor gear, apparel, and footwear from the brands you love, all at low prices every day. We carry a wide selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. Join us when your new Academy Sports and Outdoor store opens Monday, October 7th at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham. Plus, don't miss our grand opening celebration Friday, October the 11th through Sunday, October 13th. And check us out at academy.com with free shipping on purchases over $25.
Accidents happen, and when they do, make sure you've got the right person in your corner. If you've been in a wreck with a vehicle that has a logo on it, you've got to call Stephen Mesrano at 205-800-8000. Mesrano has won cases that have changed laws in Alabama, and Mesrano has secured large verdicts and settlements for his clients. Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. Want to prepare you for Free for All Friday. Free for All Friday, powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. It will be up and on the agenda for tomorrow. So make plans to be a part of our Free for All Friday. We'll open up. We're not getting a lot of predictions right now, so don't forget to get your prediction in for South Florida. That's the Alabama Legacy Collection. Tomorrow will be the last day to get your score in. Jalen Milroe total yards is the tiebreaker. And then once again, don't forget to visit pharmacymidtown.com, pharmacymidtown.com. They will do more than just take care of your pharmacy needs. They have Medicare open enrollment. They even have pet care prescriptions and medications specifically for your furry friend. That's compounding meds made with you in mind. Those services and a whole lot more, which include free delivery. Call them at 205-579-9933. That's Pharmacy Midtown, Free for All Friday on tomorrow. Shout out to all of it. We got several new listeners, and of course, our old faithfuls like Chuck Hunt and Curtis Moore and Virgil Williams and those guys. But we've added a couple new names today. Pam Trammell out of Iron City, Georgia, joining us today. And we want to, that reminds me that we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to the family and individuals who were impacted by yesterday's shooting over in Winder, Georgia. So please remember those persons and families in prayer, including the 14-year-old shooter. Pray for him and his family as well. See, Blind Squirrel Sport is back. He's back on YouTube today as Blind Squirrel versus under RS Sports. So welcome back. But Keith Holcomb made a statement, X. He said, "Man, I forgot how fast Jalen Milroe was." And that's it was so much fun to watch. But X, we need to make sure we talk a little bit about South Florida in this game as we head forward into this. Last year's game was so crazy. What do you remember most about last year that you hope you don't see any at all this year?
Uh, the ineptitude of the offensive line, man, that was just bad last year. As much as we talk about how Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson performed, we also have to look and think they weren't given a lot of time standing back there to throw the ball. They had guys in their face almost immediately a lot of the times. So I think the offensive line just being better is probably the number one thing.
And when you look at that, Pat called yesterday and was about to throw out this hold that the offensive line had conspired to sink the ship, I should say, with the backup quarterbacks. And what everybody forgets in that game, a couple things. One is Dalcourt was starting, not Jaden Roberts. And Ferguson was the backup to Dalcourt. How Jaden Roberts was third team last year, I don't know. The football gods shined on Alabama last year, and I hate to say that Ferguson's injury may have saved our season as much as the stupidity of not starting Milroe in the South Florida game did. And then Booker was not in, and Proctor was playing his third game. So to your point, the offensive line shenanigans was really bad in that game. Speaking of that, what do you see as far as the offensive line coming out of week one going into week two? Talk about the offense from if Pritchett is there, Proctor is there versus if Pritchett is there.
Now if it's Proctor, I feel really good. I feel really comfortable with what we're going to see from this offensive line. Now with Pritchett, there is more concern, but I think a week fully back at left tackle will be a lot more beneficial than, oh, hey, you've been repping it right tackle, and now all of a sudden you're going to be the starting left tackle to start the game. I think that'll be better. I think he'll be more relaxed. I think it was a lot of early game, jitters, nervousness, because even though he struggled, he did improve as the game went along. If you actually stop and watch it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think two things. First of all, Martin being a former player, understanding off season and how much work goes into it and spring practice and all that. I wasn't so sad that Pritchett got the start. I hate Proctor got hurt, and I pray that he is temporary and all of that. I'm so excited that the team accepted Proctor back and all of those things. But I kind of smiled a little bit that Pritchett got the start. Just you know what I mean? Just he started a game at the University of Alabama, and the reality of it is, off season, spring practice, working all summer, being the rotation guy, he earned it. I didn't say he deserved it. I said he earned the right to start. And so in that sense, I was happy. In the sense of he did get better, X. And there's a reason you rep. There's a reason you rep, and he did not get the chance to rep at left tackle. As far as this offensive line with Proctor, we're all assuming Proctor is better, and you know what I mean. Like we're all. It's been a long time since Proctor played full speed. Now I can tell you, X, with what I saw from guys on that defense the other night, he's gotten plenty of reps and opportunities to get practice. But last year, the outside linebacker for South Florida really tested us. Do you see how differently? Let me say it this way: Lance Larkin saying, let's not forget that Tommy Reese was OC last year calling the UCF game. What do you see different in this game, or what do you see potentially even from last year's game that this staff can take advantage of offensively that we did not take advantage of last year?
Jalen Milroe, first and foremost. I think that's the clear and obvious what we can see different.
But in what sense? In what sense do you mean Jalen? I mean, of course, Jalen's going to be the starter, but what about Jalen being the starter? Do you see us taking advantage of against South Florida?
Number one is legs, and gonna beat that like a dead horse. Jalen's legs change a lot of things, and so if we're having troubles with pressure or things of that nature again, we'll be able to see, I think, him do more damage and get away from it. Where Buckner and Ty, who are two really athletic quarterbacks in and of themselves, but they're just not Jalen Milroe athletic. He'll be able to get away a little bit more than they were able to if there is pressure. I think you'll see more designed runs if that comes down to it. But like his maturation, Buckner just looked lost. I mean, you could tell that was Ty's first time playing big boy football in a game, in a moment where it mattered. And as Coach DeBoer said, Jalen's decisiveness has improved. And I think that's what you're going to be looking at when you're talking about this team.
Wasn't Ty's legs our most effective weapon last year? Didn't he have a long run against them last year, if I'm not mistaken?
No,
it was
he had the long pass to Dupree.
Was it Dupree? Okay. Yeah. But Ty and those guys, they struggled mightily last year. I think Jalen is an equalizer there. Come back on the other side. We'll keep some of the thoughts going. I'm going to ask you, X, on the other side after we come back. What would you add to this week's game plan that we didn't see last week? So think on that for a second. What would you add to this week's game plan that we did not run? Because last week I think was a simplified version of this offense. Chuck, you're in on the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline, 205-342-9904. What's on your mind, sir?
Yes, good morning to you. I'm gonna be quick. It's something you all. I was watching the games that this past weekend, and I was looking at Bill O'Brien coaching Boston College, and they beat Florida State. I think it's the right setting for him because let's face it, he's coaching at Boston College. They talk about the 1984 Heisman Trophy winner Doug Flutie coming from there, but let's face what kind of program it is. It's kind of one of the prestigious schools there in Boston, but they came out. You can tell that they looked at that game in Dublin, Ireland, because they ran it down Florida State's throats, and look what happened. Same results, and let's face it, they don't have the kind of athletes. They don't have Boston College doesn't have athletes like Alabama and Ohio State and the others, Georgia, but I think it's the right setting for Coach O'Brien. And also looking at you all against West Kentucky, those transfer. You have a guy who's transferred about how many times? TJ Finley. About how many times he transferred? I know
he's on his fourth team.
Texas State. This is 14, and then you had that wide receiver, Keyshawn Johnson, came from the Alabama State. That young man has a lot of athleticism at wide receiver with Western Kentucky. But I look at y'all ran the table on him, and we will see what's going to come with your alma mater as the season progressed. Looking at Coach DeBoer, what he's doing, and look like y'all not missing a beat there. I might land on that one.
All right, thanks. Hey, that's Chuck Hunt. Chuck, yeah, thanks for that. Seeing Bill O'Brien having to use a quarterback exactly like the one he had here, it shows you that when you are the head man and your job is at risk, you don't have as many opinions about the most talented guy. You don't want for something else. You go ahead and go out there to play because you better win. And that's what he showed. At least he was willing to do that as a coach. And, of course, FSU, kudos to them. We'll be back on the other side. Think about what would you add to this week's offensive game plan that maybe we didn't show last week. Not Blind Squirrel, but Keith Holcomb joining us from Mount Olive, Alabama, says that we need to shout out to Ty Simpson, and we will do that on the other side for something he's done. We'll be back on the other side to keep the conversation rolling and put the final touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, it's Gary Harris. Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show, Coach Ellis Johnson breaks down the upcoming SEC football schedule for this weekend. And my pal Jeff Spiegel, sports anchor and host of The Zone at ABC 3340, will check in. Your phone calls and more. That's Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. Security has been increased at Oakland schools in Walker County after law enforcement were made aware of social media threats there. Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith issued a statement on Facebook saying, "Our team is currently investigating the threats and treating the threats seriously, as we do with all threats brought to our attention." The threats were issued on the same day as a mass shooting at a high school just outside of Atlanta. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, now traffic is moving along a little swifter than it was. We had a couple of earlier problems. They've since cleared, and so now you're pretty good to go in the neighborhood. Looking good on Lurleen Wallace on the north and southbound hookup to McFarland Boulevard. McFarland traveling all nice and smooth and wide open between Watermelon and Lurleen Wallace. And you've also got some construction that's not bothering you on 2059 eastbound between Western Bypass and Joe Malisham. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Welcome to Hey Taylor Electrical. Wendy, what's your question?
I know I've seen Taylor Electrical trucks and crews around the University of Alabama, the local schools, and the New River District Park, but I need to know, do you do work at people's homes?
Actually, we do, Wendy. Taylor Electrical takes pride in having the experience and knowledge to handle any electrical project.
Wow, that's awesome. Taylor Electrical sounds really customer-friendly. How can I get in touch with y'all?
Just call or text us at 205-553-0958.
It's electric! Join Tide 100.9 and WTBC 1230 for Fridays at the Free. Join Tide 100.9's Wyatt Fulton as he talks Alabama football. Come have lunch and enjoy burgers, wings, beer at Tuscaloosa's Game Day Sports Bar, Innisfree Irish Pub. Tide 100.9 and WTBC 1230 will be drawing each week for prizes from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Fridays at the Free, an Alabama tradition. Come try their juicy burgers and hand-breaded chicken fingers with one-of-a-kind Irish gold sauce. We will see you at Innisfree Irish Pub, 1925 University Boulevard, downtown.
More than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners. The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. We want to thank the good folks over at Houston Hydrosteam Carpet and Upholstery. They will help you with all of your carpet and upholstery cleaning, quality work. You can stand on 205-553-9460. They help bring us the West Alabama High School Pigskin Preview Show, which airs tonight. Is moving to 6, not 7. Tonight it'll be at 6 p.m. right here on the same bat channel, I should say. Tide 100.9, 12:30 a.m. and all of the various social media outlets. We're highlighting Bryant High School, Paul W. Bryant High School, coached by former Alabama player Christian Jones. Set in as head coach late in the season, and also the Central Falcons coached by Coach Pippen. So that'll be tonight. Actually, let's get to Pat real quick, and then we'll come back and I'll give you a chance once again. What would you add to this week's game plan that you didn't show last week? Pat, you're in on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
What we better add is a left tackle. That they have I watched him. It was horrible. But he wasn't an actual defensive end. I think he was a free safety that they moved up in a defensive end or outside edge, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it.
You mean the same defense we run?
Huh?
You mean the same defense we run?
All I can tell you is that Caden Proctor did not have any kind of answer for that kid. Not any.
Okay. And here's the problem, Pat. You and I saw that, right?
Yeah.
So if you're getting pressure, Pat, from one position and you can't block that guy, what play call do you call to help that left tackle?
You better bring in Martin Houston from 1992.
Nope.
You better do.
Nope. Run a screen right at him. Run a screen. Let him think he's getting by. Proctor just waves him by, and now Proctor's out leading on a tackle. On another DB.
On a block.
You run draws and screens, Pat, to slow them down. Pat, I know that's not what you called about. You get your recruiting question.
What I called about is Ty Jackson. I didn't hear y'all mention too much about Ty Jackson. I do know that he has an unofficial visit to Alabama, and I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt that he doesn't have an official set up to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, let Ty come in and visit and see if this is where he wants to be. And if it is, I think you'll see that you'll see an official later on in the season.
Yeah, well, he's coming in for the Georgia game, and hopefully we'll put it up against the Dogs, and we'll take the Dogs down. So he'll see, and it's going to be at night. So Bryant Denny Stadium at night is beginning to get to be awful special, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you, man.
Have a blessed
yeah, and Pat, just run a screen. If you can't block the guys, run draws and screens. That's all you have to do. Just run draws and screens. and it'll slow them down. All right, thanks, Pat. All right, X. And we'll pick this conversation up tomorrow as well on a Free for All Friday brought to you by the pharmacy at Midtown. What would you add to this week's game plan that we didn't run last week or didn't do enough of?
It's funny that Pat kind of brought it because I was thinking of the game last year, and screens is one of them. Screens is something I would definitely be pushing, draws, things that get this aggressiveness that they're going to come out with, and you take advantage of it. And that's draws with the running backs, that's QB draws, that's wide receiver screens, running back screens. Man, even throw in a tight end screen if you want to, but just do things that gets them off of their spot.
Yeah, make them slow them down a little bit. And we'll give you some time to think about that. Give the listeners and viewers a chance to think about it. What would you do this week? We haven't talked about defense at all. And defense didn't play bad last year. But what would you do to disrupt this quarterback? Their quarterback had a lot of success last year. So what would you do differently there? And that'll be part of the question tomorrow as well, X. I watched a team, and here's a quick question, X. Do you see at any point us having Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe on the field at the same time? I watched Alabama State, and they have two quarterbacks. The kid's not Jalen Milroe, but they would remind you of Jalen and Ty. And this coach, Eddie Robinson Jr., he's playing both. He rotates them in, puts them at wide receiver, had both of them in the huddle. The other team didn't know what to do. So you think we'll see that at any point this year potentially?
I don't know if we'll see it. But with with Coach DeBoer and staff and their use of getting guys on the field and things of that nature, you never know at the end of the day. But I don't know if we'll see that.
Well, and the only reason I asked that, and we can talk about this tomorrow as well. The only reason I ask it, X, is they literally said if a guy shows that he's above the line, then they're gonna play. I mean,
sure.
They literally said that. That was the thing. So that'll be the quick thing. Anything big for tomorrow? We still hadn't talked about the AP poll where Alabama's sitting at number 4. Anything else you got before we get out of here? Really quick.
No.
All right. So we'll catch you guys on tomorrow. That has been the Harvest Church 2-minute warning. Harvest Church, where we love God, love people. We love to invite you to come join us on Sundays at 10 a.m. worship in the Word, Bible study, small group Bible study at 9 a.m. And for those of you who heard me mention the name Keith Holcomb, it is not the Keith Holcomb that played at Alabama. I thought it was too. But welcome to the fam. And remember this, guys, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge him. And he will direct your path. Roll Tide out to everybody. Don't forget, 6 p.m. tonight, the West Alabama High School football Pigskin preview show. For Xavier, Martin, and Chase, we say Roll Tide and catch you on tomorrow.